The world ended 5 minutes ago and you didn't even get a cinematic warning. No mushroom cloud, no sirens, just a bang in the stairwell, and now you're on the floor of your apartment hallway, staring at a red puddle that's getting way too personal. Your neighbors are locked behind their doors pretending they don't hear you. Your phone is a dead rectangle, and that $300 EDC trauma kit you flexed on Instagram? It's in your car, 3 blocks away, past the people who just shot you. Cute. So here's the question. When the world has ended and you're leaking, what actually keeps you alive? Your gear, your grit, or physics? Spoiler, physics. Always physics. You think a bullet wound is just patch the hole, walk it off? You're wrong. Bullets don't make holes. They make destruction. The phrase is temporary cavity, a shockwave of meat getting shoved aside faster than it can complain. High-velocity rounds don't just pass through. They slam tissue, tear blood vessels, and leave you with internal damage you'll never see. You've got about 5 liters of blood in you. Lose 40%, and your organs start putting in their resignation letters. Arterial bleeding can kill you in under 2 minutes. That's not drama. That's fluid dynamics with a timer. And you? You're sitting there mentally scrolling through movie medicine bite on a belt, pour whiskey on it. Maybe dig the bullet out with a knife like an action hero. No. Stop. Hollywood first aid is a body disposal method. You don't tough it out. You don't chase the bullet. You don't let it bleed to clean itself. You act like a boring, cold-blooded engineer solving a leak in a failing system because that's what a gunshot is. Your body is plumbing with software. Right now, the plumbing is losing pressure. So let's walk through this like the grid already failed. EMS is a memory, hospitals are looted, and the only thing between you and becoming hallway decor is trash, basic biology, and sheer refusal to die. Method 1. Stop the red leak. Not later. Not after you assess the situation. The situation is, blood is leaving the body and needs to stop. The first rule is pressure. Direct, relentless pressure. Take the cleanest thing you have, shirt, towel, curtain, that hoodie you pretended was tactical, fold it into a pad and jam it into or onto the wound and push. Not pat, not dab, push. Use both hands if you can. Or get someone else to do it if they're not busy pretending they don't know what to do. Bigger, darker blood flow that spurts or pulses with the heartbeat. That's arterial. That's the fast game. Steady, dark ooze, venous. Still dangerous. Still not your friend. Either way, the answer is pressure. Constant pressure is better than perfect technique. Think of it like this. Blood pressure is just a pump and pipes. You're physically choking off a leak. You're the valve now. You let up, the system keeps emptying. You keep pushing, the system has a chance. If the wound's on a limb and the bleeding is severe, that's when the word tourniquet enters your brain. Last resort tool, not first reflex. If you have a real tourniquet from the old world, congratulations, you planned ahead. If not, in the ruins you're improvising from a belt, webbing, or thick cloth and a solid stick or metal bar to twist. High up on the limb, above the wound, not across joints, pulled so tight it hurts more than the bullet. You're trying to crush arteries against bone, not accessorize. But understand this, improvised tourniquets are a gamble. If you do it weak, you just slow venous blood and trap more blood in the limb while arteries keep feeding it. That's worse. Physics doesn't care that you tried your best. Either you're fully stopping arterial flow, or you're not. If you're not sure, go back to the thing that always works, direct pressure on the wound, with your weight behind it. Method 2, plug the damage you can reach, and stop trying to be a surgeon. There's a stupid, persistent fantasy that you need to get the bullet out. No, you're not in an action movie. You are in a collapsing city with no sterile tools and no anesthesia. The bullet, or fragments, or whatever's in there is not your immediate problem. The bleeding and infection are. Digging around in a wound with a knife, pliers, or your unwashed fingers is how you turn maybe survivable into fast septic corpse. Remember this line, foreign objects can sometimes be left in for hours. Open wounds plus dirty hands kill in days. If the bullet went in and didn't come out, you treat what you see, entry wound. If there's an exit wound, that's 2 holes to manage. You don't stuff random garbage inside your body. You use the cleanest, most absorbent material you've got, boiled cloth if you had time, or at least something not visibly filthy. Pad the wound, hold pressure, and secured so your hands can do other things. Trash world hack: strip fabric from inside coats, t-shirts, bed sheets, or car seat foam as padding. Use duct tape, belts, backpack straps, or strips of cloth tied tight to keep the pad pressed in place. This is a pressure dressing, not art. For deep, narrow wounds that are pouring blood, you can pack cloth into the channel like sealing a crack, then press another wad over that. But again, clean as possible, not random grit. You're not caulking a window. You're trying to not shove more bacteria into the meat. Chest wound? Different beast. If you've got a sucking chest wound, air visibly whizzing or bubbling through a hole when they breathe, that's air entering the chest cavity where it doesn't belong, collapsing the lung. Air in the chest cavity is called a pneumothorax. Enough air under pressure crushes the lung and shifts the heart. That's tension pneumothorax. That's how people die even when they're not bleeding much. You are not doing chest surgery. What you can do is improvise an occlusive dressing, lay plastic packaging, food wrap, the glossy cover of some apocalypse self-help book over the hole to limit air being sucked in. Tape or tie it in place as best you can. If they start struggling more, gasping harder, or their neck veins start bulging, you might need to lift a corner briefly to burp trapped air. Messy, imperfect, but sometimes it buys time. And time is all you're ever buying now. Method 3. Keep the brain online and fight shock. Bleeding is physics. Shock is software failure. Shock is when your body realizes the system is failing and pulls blood from non-essentials like skin and gut to keep the brain and heart online. You get pale, cold, confused, then unconscious, then done. Blood pressure drops. Pulse races. Breathing gets shallow. You don't negotiate with shock. You manage its conditions. Lay the person flat if you can. If there's no obvious head, spine, or chest trauma, you can raise their legs slightly to encourage blood to return to the core. If they've been shot in the torso, don't turn them into a yoga pose. Movement can shift internal damage. Keep them warm, not cozy, warm. Lost blood plus cold equals death spiral. Heat leaves through conduction touching a cold floor, convection airflow stealing warmth, and radiation you glowing in infrared like a slowly cooling corpse. So you cut all 3. Put something between them and the ground carpet, cardboard, clothes, cushions. Wrap them with coats, blankets, curtains, whatever you have. Air is insulation only when it's trapped. Loose fabric flapping in a draft is a joke, not warmth. Calm them down. Panic burns oxygen and speeds circulation, which you really don't want when you're trying not to drain the tank. Simple, direct instructions, you're hit. I'm stopping the bleeding. Stay still. Breathe slow. You're not selling hope. You're giving their brain a script that isn't "we're already dead" if they're fully awake. Can swallow and don't have a belly wound. Small sips of safe water can help with dehydration, but don't chug it, won't magically restore blood volume. And puking on top of a chest wound is not a feature. Blood is not just water. It cells, salts, proteins, all gone now. This is damage control, not refill. Method 4. The world is a bacteria party. Now fight infection like you mean it. Let's say you've stopped the major bleed. Great, you didn't die today. Now the microbes would like a word. Bacteria love warm, wet, nutrient-rich environments. That is exactly what a bullet wound is. Some bacteria double their numbers every 20 minutes in the right conditions. Do the math on what a day looks like. You can't keep that wound sterile in a wreck city, but you can make it less of a buffet. If you have the luxury, meaning the bleeding is controlled and they're not crashing, you gently rinse around the wound with the cleanest water you can make. Boil water for at least a rolling minute, then let it cool. Don't blast water into the wound with pressure. You're not power washing a sidewalk. Just rinse off dirt, glass, obvious trash. No, pouring straight hydrogen peroxide deep into a wound every hour isn't helping. It nukes cells that are trying to heal and can delay recovery. If it's all you've got for a what-I'm initial clean and you're choosing between that or leaving visible grime, fine. But don't turn it into a ritual. Cover the wound with as clean a dressing as you have. Change it when it's soaked or filthy. Not when you remember. Every time you change it, you're opening a door to more bacteria. So you balance to wet, to dirty against to many. Changes if by some miracle, you still have real antibiotics and know how to use them because you learned before the collapse from real medical sources, not from a comment section. This is when they matter. Wasting them on sniffles was stupid. Wasting them now is fatal. Watch for spreading redness, swelling, fever, foul smell, increasing pain. That's infection taking the lead. In the old world, you'd go to a hospital for antibiotics and debridement. In this one, you're stuck with cleaning. Draining if it builds obvious pus near the surface, and hoping your improvisation plus their immune system beats exponential bacterial math. Method 5. Triage with a dead city mentality. Cold truth, you cannot save everyone. Not with bare hands, not with trash, not without hospitals. In a collapse, your job is to invest effort where physics and biology give you a fighting chance. Gunshot to the head with brain matter exposed. No response, no breathing? That's a body, not a patient. Shot to the chest, unresponsive, not breathing, no pulse for over a minute? CPR without defibrillation and oxygen has a miserable success rate even with pros. In the ruins, you're mostly just prolonging the moment of death for your own feelings. Massive abdominal shot with rigid, distended belly, vomiting blood, going cold and confused fast? They may last hours, maybe a day, but without surgery to find and repair internal bleeding, those are say what you need to say injuries. Harsh, yes, but pretending changes nothing. On the other hand, limb shots with controllable bleeding. Soft tissue hits that missed major bones and arteries through and through muscle wounds. Lower chest injuries where they can still breathe reasonably, those are where your trash-based medicine actually matters. And don't forget the most important patient, you. A dead medic saves nobody. If you're the one shot, your priority is self-aid first. Pressure on your own wound, get to cover, then worry about anything else. Heroic slow deaths in open corridors are for movies, not for people who intend to outlive the grid. Method 6. You don't learn this during the apocalypse. You learn it now. That's the part you keep avoiding. You watch videos like this, nod, maybe buy some gear, then do exactly 0 reps with it. Then you expect to perform under blood and adrenaline like it's a video game QuickTime event. No, skill is muscle memory, not wishful thinking. In the world that existed yesterday, you had access to actual training, stop the bleed courses, first aid, real medical books, real doctors. If that world flickers back on for even a week, use it. Gear is nice. Knowledge is ruthless. That $500 plate carrier you drooled over? It doesn't stop sepsis. Practical pre-collapse moves. Learn how to apply a commercial tourniquet correctly on yourself and others. Learn what heavy bleeding actually looks like, not the sanitized movie version. Practice making a pressure dressing with junk in your apartment. Wrap a cushion, strap it tight, see what works and what just slides around. Look at your environment right now: office, apartment, subway car through post-gunshot eyes. Pause and look around. Everything here is medical equipment or trash, depending on your imagination. Belts, scarves, backpack straps, securing pressure, t-shirts, towels, torn bedding, dressings, plastic bags, food wrappers, Ziploc, occlusive chest seals, cardboard, rugs, couch cushions, insulation from cold floors. The world around you is louder about survival than your gear catalog. If you actually listen, that's the mindset. Physics beats gear, trash beats money, spike beats panic. You're not the main character in a hero's journey. You're a temporary arrangement of water and carbon trying not to leak out on the linoleum before the sun sets. Treat it that way. So here's your grim little homework tonight. In your nice intact civilization, pick a room and ask yourself, if someone took a bullet right here, what would I grab in 5 seconds? To stop the bleed and keep them warm? Actually stand up and check. Which cloth? Which strap? What's between them and the floor? Do it once now so that, if you ever have to do it when the world is burning, your brain has something better than panic to load. Because when the world has ended, there's no EMS, no 911, no heroic chopper landing. There's just you, blood on the floor, and the cold laws of biology. You either work with those laws or you die by them. This isn't hope, it's math. If you're still breathing and not full of holes, smash like while you still have functional fingers. Drop a comment with the best trash you've spotted in your house that could double as medical gear. And tell me what you want covered next, maybe how to not get shot in the first place. Or what to do when antibiotics are just a word in an old book. The world ended. You didn't keep it that way.